My go-to method for transporting my bikes was off with the front wheel and hook them in the back of the car. I kind of liked having them in the back of the car, made me feel secure, but it used to ruin my car. And just recently I purchased a new car and unfortunately the rear seats don't fold down. So I've had to resort to a bike rack. Now, bike racks are kind of odd beasts. They tend to sit on the back of your car and strap on with billions of different straps. And the one I've chosen to go with is the Halfords bike rack. Mostly because I've used this one before, a friend's one, so I have a little bit of experience with it. I know it's solid. So this bike rack costs about 110 euros from Halfords. It comes partially assembled and it comes with so many straps. The top arms on the bike rack can be adjusted by undoing a clip on either side. These clips absolutely destroyed my hands. As you open and close them, they snap into place and they tend to kind of pinch the skin quite hard. But they feel pretty solid and secure, so I'll forgive them for that. The center arm that rests on the boot of your car, the top section of the boot, that also has the same snapping mechanism that opens to allow the arm to move up and down and snaps closed again to lock it in place. Now the partially assembled bit, the only thing you really have to assemble on this are the straps that hold your bike into place. So these are formed up of three pieces. The first is a rubber strap, the second is a foam cylinder, and the third is a plastic cylinder with a hook for the strap to go in and around. Getting these on is a bit of a task, but luckily you only ever have to assemble this once. And I suppose the reason they're tight going down on the shaft is because, well, you don't want them moving in the long run. Finally, above the top plastic cylinder strap holder thing goes a screw, a retention screw just to hold everything in place, and a little reflector that pops into the end of it. This particular model that I've chosen is the high rear mount, so that means that it'll hold the bikes above the boot level, so it should leave my lights exposed on the back. Now the rest of the straps they give you on the car are to be fitted and unfitted each time you place the bike rack on the car and take it back off. So to start off, I did a test fit on the boot of the car. It has a lot of these foam cylinders on it to keep the metal framework from rubbing off your bodywork and causing damage. Now I'm not going to do a tutorial on how to fit one of these because I just don't think I'll do a good job of it. Halfords already do a video on how to fit this, and it's actually the video I watched to find out how to fit my own one. So I'll leave a link to that down in the description. But the short and fast of the installation is that the boot needs to be opened. There are two straps with plastic cylinders that drop down over the boot lid and into the boot. These then secure when the boot is closed. Just be careful not to close your boot down on these because they seem like they could do some damage if you did, so it's something to be aware of. There's another strap that gets laid across the length of your boot, so that's side to side on the car. Once you have all these straps in place, they all secure into buckles on the bike rack and they get tightened down. It's also a good idea to tighten them down a bit at a time. So do the right side, then the left side, then the right again, then the left again, and keep repeating that until there's not much more to give in them. Once you have all of those in place, it's just a case of securing the bottom. Now, I had a problem on my car. Underneath the car, I had nothing to secure to. There's a heat shield under my car for the exhaust and I just had nowhere to put the straps. So I attach mine to the bottom of the boot lid. It's also worth mentioning, Halfords recommends you don't put your straps underneath the boot like I did. So I can't recommend that you do this. I just had to do it because I had no other options. So once that's done, you're going to lift your bike up onto the two supporting bars. Now I got lucky with this because I was able to fit my bike onto these two supporting bars despite the fact that it's a full suspension bike. Halfords sell an add-on which is like a crossbar that can clip onto certain bikes that won't fit the frame because this is designed for a very standard triangle frame, not full suspension frames. So you might just have to test it with your bike and see if it fits. They also give you a strap to strap between the two wheels just to hold everything in place, and again it just buckles together. And the two supporting rods have all the fittings from earlier, including the straps, which you're going to tighten down to hold your bike in place. Now, once it's on there in a saloon car, I found that left and right visibility were fine, but again, that's going to more depend on the length of your bike. I did find, because it's a high lift rear mount, that it pretty much blocked my rear view mirror, my center rear view mirror. It had reasonably okay clearance from the body. It holds the bike out just far enough that I wasn't too nervous of it hitting off, but you'd really want to be careful on a saloon car and make sure that the bike and the frame are really securely positioned, or else it could shake around and hit your car. So it's just something to take note of. Now, once I got driving around with this thing in place, I pretty much didn't have any problem with it. I took it over some speed bumps, I took it around some roundabouts, and it seemed like it held the bike in place really well. The bike didn't seem to jump around too much, it seemed to be held pretty solid on there. And at speed, it seemed like it wasn't going anywhere. So I feel pretty confident that this is going to hold my bike in place pretty well. Also, I've since fitted a second bike to the rack, and that fit on just fine, and there was decent clearance between the two bikes. So that's it. I mean, as a cheaper bike rack goes, this one seems absolutely fine. It is definitely frustrating to use with all the straps, and I would like a little bit more clearance from the body of my car. But otherwise, I could recommend this as a good bike rack. However, it should be noted that Halfords do say when mounted to a hatchback, it can hold 3 bikes up to 45 kilos in weight total. And when mounted to a saloon car, it can carry 2 bikes up to 30 kilograms total in weight. So if you have something heavier like a downhill bike and you want to carry 2 of them, or possibly you have an e-bike or 2, this may not be suitable for you. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review of the Halfords bike rack. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.